UltraAlgo here, and today is March 16th, 2021. Today we are going to be doing the review of a few tickers, namely SVRA, SVRA Inc. on the 1-minute chart, then ANCN on the 5-minute chart, that's Enchanted Therapeutics, stock ticker STRM on the 1-minute chart, that's Streamline Health Solutions, stock ticker TMBR on the 5-minute chart, Timber Pharmaceuticals, stock ticker SEEL on the 30-minute chart, that's SEEL Therapeutics, and then finally stock ticker SYPR on the 15-minute chart, that's SYPR Solutions Incorporated. Before we jump in, let's look at some of the calls we made over the past 2-3 sessions, namely stock ticker SVRA. We made a short call there, it dropped 22.44%. ANCN short call 21% down. STRM 11% down. TMBR 13% down. SEEL, we actually made an ultra bull call. That means that it was going to squeeze up, went up 33.8%, and then we had a short call, it went down 22%. And then finally SYPR, which dropped down 6.81%. So it looks like it's still got some consolidation to go. Now let's look at the live charts. And here you can see the UltraAlgo running on TradingView. And let me explain what a couple of these signals mean. You have the ultra bull signals, which display the market maker plays, whether they're loading up, putting their hands on the scale to manipulate one direction or the other, as well as the ultra bear signals, which means that they're likely to push it down. Then we also have the buying short signals, which demonstrate the retail plays. And then a couple of other lines is this yellow line at the top, that's the absolute resistance line. There's also green line. And then there's another white line, which is the most immediate resistance, which displays differently depending on the chart that you reference. And then there's also a blue line on the chart, which displays the absolute support line, which is here at the bottom. Great. So let's start with stock ticker SVRA on the 1-minute chart. Here you can see it's been following a very consistent pattern where it jumps up and it jumps down. So we looked at this particular security and we saw that it was oversold. It had run up around 40–50% on the day, and we waited for our opportunity to open up a short position. We got the short signal, we traded it down, saw the buy signal. We ignored that because we thought that it was still overextended, waited for the second short signal, and then wrote it down. Next ticker, ANCN, and if you can see here, it actually passed the most immediate resistance line. So that's always a great opportunity to potentially open up a short position. We always recommend trading with bracket orders. And you can see that there was a few ultra bull signals that came into play that the market makers wanted this up. They wanted it up very early as well. So we got our first signal for the ultra bull at a high of $4.70, and that ended up running all the way up to $9.49. At there we got the short signal. The short signal was at a low of $7.93, and it ended up dropping all the way down to a low of $4.81. Then here it had a nice little squeeze and it jumped right back down. Next one is, remember we talked about that resistance line, stock ticker STRM on the 1-minute chart, and the patterns always tend to repeat here. So we saw the ultra bull signals. There was a lot of support here early on, specifically a few days ago. It seems like somebody had some insider knowledge. They started acquiring pretty aggressively. And just to note that this ultra bull is not indicative of volume. This is a complete unique indicator that we built out, which runs off of 15 different signals. So this ended up running up all the way to around 420, and then there was a very strong short signal that happened. Again, this was a 1-minute chart, so it jumped up and down as aggressively. But what's interesting is that second run that it made, it pretty much hit that resistance line and then it came right back down. So that's always a great reference point from the UltraAlgo. Next stock ticker TMBR, same thing. We like to look at the resistance line it would have initially been at around $3.14. And just imagine that it jumped right over that point, maybe a 15% run, and then it came right back down to a ballpark of $2.30. And here you can trade pretty much exclusively buying short signals, and you'll notice a couple of ultra bears here and there. Next, SEL. So this one's still trying to figure out the resistance and support levels. It seems like the absolute resistance level is up here on the $5.89 mark, but we're trying to see if there's going to be a pullback. It's very likely that there's going to be a pullback, but again, we don't predict. We trade exclusively on the signals, and we trade with bracket orders. So once we get the signal for short, we get our our old target of gains, and then once we hit that mark, we bow out and wait for the next signal. That's usually the most secure way to trade profitably and consistently. Then the last ticker, and this was SEEL Therapeuticals on the 30-minute chart. Then the is SYPR, and remember we talked about those lines. Those patterns always repeat. They repeat very consistently. So here we saw these ultra bull signals. This is on the 2-minute chart. If we look at the 1-minute chart, we'll see the alert early, and we can take a peek at that. But we saw the ultra bull signal come up. It drove up very aggressively, a price of a low of 270 all the way up to a high of $7.89, and that was in the matter of just under an hour. So from there, we got the short signal. The short signal was at a high 661, low of 549, and all the way down to a low of 283. That is a brutal pullback. Most resistance lines, this is the absolute resistance, the most immediate resistance line, and it passed the most immediate resistance line, created a new absolute resistance a few weeks ago, and then pulled back. Today, did the exact same movements as what we saw in the past. So again, we love to see that the patterns repeat. Here, again, this is looking at the 15-minute chart, but let's move this to a more aggressive time frame, maybe the 5-minute. Let's see what that looks like. And this is the notice that we would have received. So looking again on the 5-minute chart, we would have been notified about this at a high of $4.49, and then it jumped all the way up to $7.90, and then we got the short signal at a high of 720, low of 663, and it dropped all the way down to a low of $4.29. So it's right under that resistance line. So it seems like this would be a good time to start monitoring it for potentially another opening. But it's always recommended to record these signals and then set up your alerts so then the next time you don't have to keep watching this chart, and you can set a couple of those up at a time. Thank you for watching the technical video. If you're interested in improving your overall trading strategy, we recommend you start a 7-day free trial with UltraAlgo. This tool is designed to help traders easily identify buy and short opportunities across securities listed on all major exchanges. That includes the New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, OTC, and CBOE. It's also available for Forex and crypto trading. Start a 7-day free trial at UltraAlgo.com.